All right, Kevin Monroe joining us today on Pirate Radio Live from our ECU corner, and you've heard his voice on the broadcast for many, many years now. Good grief, Kevin! Not to date us, but how long have you been now with the Pirate Sports Network?
This will be my 22nd season coming up. My first season was fall of '03.
I don't even seem right, but then again, you did get into it pretty close to after you were done with your playing days, kind of like a Macy O'Donnell's doing right now, following in the Kevin Monroe footsteps.
That's exactly right. I was maybe 3 or 4 years out of playing ball and kind of stumbled into it. And they thought I did a pretty good job. And I did a few years on the sidelines and then got in the booth, and I've been doing it ever since.
Been really awesome hearing you all these years, and looking forward to another Pirate football season. And Kevin, it feels a little bit like deja vu. I think we're in a better spot than we were a year ago right now at the quarterback position. I'm going to assume we are. I think it's a fair prediction. But once again, as we sit here today, a starter has not been named. So kind of taking away the players themselves, how do you feel generally about a quarterback battle that's still going on just a few weeks away from kicking off the season?
So, a couple things I feel good about. One, unlike last year, no disrespect to last year's quarterbacks, unlike last year, the problem now is we have two guys that are playing really well, and it's hard to choose between the two of them. So that's a good problem to have. And the other thing is, the coaches have stuck to from the beginning that they're going to pick one. So I think as Pirate fans, we don't have to feel like they're going to roll out their first game and just keep rotating in and out every series. I don't think anybody likes that. No fans like that. No coaches like that. And so I feel better about things than I did a year ago because let's be honest, last year's quarterback situation was as bad as it's been at ECU. And so to have this year going into it with two quarterbacks that have not only started at Power Five schools before, but they performed pretty well is a good feeling. And honestly, we win 3 games last year. If you just swap out the quarterbacks with a better playing quarterback, not a winning quarterback, maybe just a game manager, you probably pick up 2 or 3 more wins. So I don't think we were as bad as our record was, but we just could not move the ball offensively, and it starts with the quarterback position.
Yeah, we've said the defense deserved a lot more last year with the way they played. And Kevin, just want to ask you about going back to last year, the biggest improvements needed for this team to succeed in 2024. Quarterback, top of the list. Offense as a whole, top of the list. And Mike Houston brings in John David Baker. Receivers were a disappointment last year. How much of that was the quarterback and the offense's issue? It all kind of goes together. And then there's the O-line. And Mike Houston has raved about this offensive line this offseason. We'll see once they get out on the field. But as far as addressing issues from last year, you can fix things pretty quick in college football now. Do you feel pretty good, without seeing anything yet, about how Mike Houston and his staff has done trying to fix these issues?
Yeah, I mean, as a father of a high school football player, I've been paying close attention, and so the number of guys that have come in through the portal, number of guys that are coming through high school. I feel like recruiting is on fire. I feel like they're bringing in some good guys. I'd love to see more high school recruiting in the future, but I understand where the staff is. They're at a point to where they have to win now, and you are hired and fired based on winning football games, and so they're bringing in a lot of guys that are ready to play. That have come from other universities, whether it be Power Five or not, lower divisions. That are ready to play. And we don't know as fans, as folks in the media, how good these guys will be. It's almost like, that 5-star guy that comes out of high school and everybody says how great they are. You don't know until they strap it up. And so same thing with these transfer guys. We know that they were maybe backups or maybe didn't play as much as they wanted at other schools. And now they're getting an opportunity here at East Carolina. And so we hope that things will be better. You said it, quarterback, it starts there. I think running back has been solid. But with injuries and different things, it's always good to shore that up a little bit. We're very deep at that position, offensive line. And it's hard to say on offensive line because when you don't have a healthy running back or when you don't have a quarterback making, pinpoint decisions or getting the ball out quick, is that the offensive line's fault? And so we don't know how bad they were last year had the quarterback situation been a little bit different. So certainly want to see how offensive line is doing. And then defensively, you mentioned it. they've been coached up really well on that side of the ball. They played well in the back end. They tackled well. They hustled the football. The Pirates were in just about every game. And so you can't ask for anything more than that. So I think if offense catches up with defense, this could be a pretty good team.
Kevin Monroe joining us today on Pirate Radio Live. Looking forward to the kickoff of the season, and that kickoff will be against Norfolk State. And Kevin, generally speaking, hey, week one, give me NC State, give me App State, give me Michigan. With this particular team and with this particular coaching staff, I'll take a Norfolk State. Mike Houston's still looking for his first season opener win, believe it or not. Just had Holt Naylors on the show today. He never won a season opener. So I'll say this, Kevin, the players seem to do a much better job of moving on to the next week than the fans and even us from the outside. But man, it's got to feel a lot better to be 1-0 than 0-1. You feel like you're already behind the 8 ball when you're 0-1. This year they get an opportunity to get 1-0. Maybe they beat Old Dominion 2-0. That's a whole different, lease on life when you start off good, right?
Absolutely, and I know there's fans that are upset with this year's schedule. I'm not one of them because I know that both winning and losing are contagious. And so had we started out with 4 teams that are, Power 5 teams and, and struggled our way through that, who knows what we would have been like when the conference started. And so we need this easier schedule. And I'm not saying any of these teams can't beat us. They certainly can. But we need this easier schedule to get going, to be in every game, to have a chance to win some games late, maybe have a blowout in there every now and then, to build some confidence and get some momentum going. Then when you start to schedule these West Virginias and Virginia Techs and Carolinas and State and all your rivals, then you feel good about playing them because the program is back to where it should be. So I couldn't be happier about playing Norfolk State and all the other teams on the schedule. It doesn't bother me at all that they don't have Power 5 opponents because after winning 3 games, Pirate fans should be happy about winning as many games as possible, going to a bowl, and building some momentum.
Kevin Monroe joining us. Kevin, it's kind of crazy, a team that struggled as much as ECU last year where you could go into this season and say, hey, we got a chance to make the playoffs. But it's open now. The top-ranked Group of 5 champion is automatically in the college football playoff, and that is something that we've never been able to strive for. Like the best you could do really at ECU was go to a Liberty Bowl or something like that. And I'm not knocking the Liberty Bowl. I'm just saying there's more out there to play for. And now you got that carrot at the end of the stick, which every coach across the country is using that as motivation. But that's pretty cool overall in the college football landscape, Kevin, that one of these teams is going to get a chance to go against the big boys.
That's awesome. And I think that, over the years, we've had some teams, in the American Conference that have won a bunch of games, whether it be Houston or Memphis or whatever, and had their opportunity. Cincinnati had their opportunity to play on a New Year's Six game, or at least at the end of the season, have the opportunity to potentially get their nod. But now you just go out and win the conference and be ranked higher than some other teams, and you get your opportunity. So, yeah, the Pirates will have just as good a shot as anybody else if they can play well non-conference and then win the games in their conference. And we've not won very many conference championships around here. You look at the Skip years, and he won a couple. In the 94, 95, before we actually got in a conference, we won the Liberty Bowl Alliance back-to-back years to play in 2 Liberty Bowls. But outside of that, there's been few and far between conference championships, 90s, 2000s, and on. So we've got to get back to that. We've got to get back to showing and proving that we can win in this conference. And, I know Pirate fans are looking towards the future and moving into another conference as conference alignment continues to change. And to do that, you have to show success in the conference that you're in. So I think winning this year, getting to a bowl game, however high that bowl game might be, is a good start.
Kevin, on the conference note, I'm a giant hypocrite. I'll admit it. I hate conference realignment. It's taken away our rivalries, our traditions, everything I loved as a kid about college football Saturdays. Having said that, I don't know if I've looked forward to a college football season more. There are some awesome games that are going to be played each and every week now that things are stacked up. So this is kind of a non-ECU topic, but man, you look at the schedule, week 1 through week 13, 14, it's going to be stacked with games.
Yeah, I think Clemson and Georgia or something have to play like week one, and
Yep.
NC State's playing Tennessee early in the season, and so there's bigger games right away. I love that about it because back in the day, weeks 1 and 2, it was all the big time schools playing all the lesser schools, and
Yeah.
it wasn't really fun to start watching football until week 2 or 3, and so I love seeing that. I love seeing the competition. I love seeing the non-conference games being strong against good opponents. And so, yeah, these guys got to get their name in that conversation. It starts with winning in this conference and this season.
Kevin, something cool going on this football season. The conference opener against UTSA, which will be a big game. Pirates lost in the Alamo Dome last year, and UTSA picked near or at the top of the standings. But in conjunction with that, they will be honoring the 1999 team, and well deserved. And Kevin, boy, I hate to. I'm a member of the media, so I got to go negative, I guess. 2 regular season losses that year. And of course, I'm not going to ask you about the wins. I'm going to ask you about the losses. What was it? UAB and Southern Miss is
Yeah.
all that kept you from a perfect regular season. Do you look back on those and say, man, we could have really ran the table there?
Listen, I think about that UAB game once a month. Honestly, it's been 25 years. We'll start with Southern Miss. Southern Miss, I went winless against Southern Miss in my 5 years. Jeff Bowers had that program going, and they just had our number. And Steve Logan just could not beat them for whatever reason. And so, to have won the first 4 games, and I don't know how, I don't want to get in the way of your questions, but to have won the first 4 games and to go into that Southern Miss game, or maybe first 5 games, and to go into that Southern Miss game at home, ranked in the top 15 in the country. I think we went up 15-0 in the first half, and still find a way to lose that game was just. I mean, I couldn't explain to you more how hurtful that was, and it destroyed us because we knew they weren't going to lose any games outside of that in the conference, and that they were going to go on to be conference champs. And so, going into that UAB game after we'd won a few more games, it was just hard to get up knowing you couldn't win the conference championship. You were going into this stadium, Legion Field in Birmingham, that seats 80 something thousand, and there's going to be 600 people there.
Yeah.
And it was a comedy of errors. I think their starting quarterback was out hurt. I want to say their backup quarterback maybe was suspended or something. They ended up playing a third string guy who ran the option, and nobody was expecting that. And I can make up a ton of excuses, but it was just the worst game. And we play that game 10 times, we win 9.
Yeah.
That just happened to be the one time they found a way to beat us.
But an awesome year, obviously, and probably it's got to be the best game I've ever attended. The game at Carter Finley Stadium, but a win over NC State that year, some other big name teams, and I always ask you guys, Kevin, like your memories, and a lot of you former players go to. Hey, I remember the locker room. I remember hanging out with my friends more. Sounds like you remember those 2 games in particular very well. But I know you still keep in touch with a lot of those guys, right?
Oh, no question. I mean, I had 5 years at East Carolina from 95 to 99. We had one losing season, and that one losing season was just 5-6. So it was still a solid, 5-win season. And so, I think 8-4 in 95, my true freshman year, when we went on to lose in the Liberty Bowl to Illinois. No, actually, that was 94. So, yeah, 95 was the game we won against Stanford. And then 96, we went 8-3. That's the year we beat Miami in the Orange Bowl. Didn't get a bowl bid. Can you imagine that? 8-3 and not get a bowl bid?
And now they're sending 5-win teams.
Yeah, and so then 97, we were 5-6, I think, and then 98, 6-5, or vice versa. I always get those 2 years mixed up. And then 99, 9-2. And so, so I got a chance to go to the Liberty Bowl in 95, and then the Mobile, Alabama Bowl in 99. Only 2 bowls I got to go to. You only have one losing season. So it just, you think back, I still keep in touch with a ton of those guys. I'm on text groups with them, Andrew Bays and us. Obviously, he's still doing broadcasting. So Andrew Bays and I talk all the time. Forrest Foster was my corner mate, the opposite side. And so we talk all the time. Troy Smith, he actually graduated in 98. Because he didn't redshirt when we came in out of high school together. But we're best friends. We stay in touch. He lives in the Raleigh area with me, and so I see him all the time. Ton of guys. I saw Norris McCleary not too long ago. But yeah, I keep in touch with a bunch of those guys, and it was just a fun time in your life. I'm trying to explain to my sons, obviously going to be going to college, want to play football. What a fun time high school and college football is, and the camaraderie and the relationships that you make, and they'll be lifelong friends of yours. And Linwood DeBrew, who was a '97 grad, lives up here in the area, and I stay in touch with him. And so all these guys, we watch our kids grow up together. They're all playing sports now, and so yeah, it's that brotherhood that we developed in East Carolina that has gone on into our. I'm now 47, so it's gone into our adulthood lives.
That's awesome, and well-deserved honoring coming up this year for the 1999 football Pirates. Kevin, we'll let you run. You know I got to throw in some here at the end, but all right, how nervous are you about Jaden Daniels right now as a Cowboys fan?
Not at all. I haven't thought about him one time. I can tell you what I am nervous about is CeeDee Lamb. And I want to call Jerry Jones myself and say, what the heck are you doing? Just get this guy in camp. So, yeah, I mean, the Cowboys are what they are. They're going to have a ton of talent. They'll roll out there. They'll be good through the regular season, and then we'll have to see. We'll have to see if they can finally break through and win a playoff game.
How about a Pirate getting an interception with a star on the helmet? Julius Wood. That's pretty cool.
I saw that. And then I watched the replay of the game, and Stetson Bennett actually threw 5 interceptions. The 5th one was overturned because it was a holding or something. But imagine that he throws 5 interceptions and then throws a game-winning touchdown pass. So, yeah, but it was fun to watch Julius Wood make that interception. Hopefully he makes that team. He's a great player, had a good career here. So I tried to watch a whole lot of the preseason because you don't really know a whole lot of guys playing, but it was cool to see him playing out there.
Kevin, great to chat with you, man. First time we're talking this late summer, fall, and look forward to more chats with you as Pirate football gets rolling. But appreciate you joining us today, man. Have a good rest of your summer, but about time to turn that page to football, man. Exciting times.
Man, I'm getting happy about it. I'm looking forward to doing the home games again this year on the broadcast, and just watching football. So yeah, pumped up, keeping up with what the Pirates are doing, and hopefully they can turn things around. Man, I appreciate being on the show. I'm glad you reached out, and I'm always available.
All right, let's do it again soon. Thank you, Kevin.